Welcome inside Raptors today. Paul Jones in the captain's chair for Akil Augustine, alongside Sherman Hamilton and Leonard. Leo Rautins making
in the house,
appearance.
Happy to be here.
You're such a liar.
We had to drag
There's
him
no
in.
place else I'd rather be.
We had to drag him in out of the sun and dust off the mothballs. But Leo, great to have you here.
Yeah, a little sand over there, but it should be good.
Yeah, the sand is off camera. We're good with that. Let's talk about the Raptors as we head down towards the end of the season. You're kind of looking ahead to next season, looking at the makeup of the team. Scottie is the guy that is everybody's focusing on as the leader. We're at a time now, we're going to talk about the tournament later, where everybody, when Scottie was picked, people kind of went, oh, are you sure you want this guy? The Raptors are pretty sure now. They've handed him the keys. Give me your impressions, Leo, of this year, his fourth year, where he's transitioning to become probably the undisputed leader of the team.
Well, and when you talk leader, what's that mean? That means you got to be vocal, right? You got to be not only lead by example, which is the big thing, but you have to talk to players, get into players, and no one's going to listen to you or respect you if you're not doing it. So
right.
It's a twofold thing. But the big thing coming into the season, he had to be able to shoot the basketball. He's shooting the ball better. He's shooting it with more confidence. I think there's still a large, piece of ground that he's got to cover to take that to another level where people just can't leave him. You don't have to be a great shooter. You just have to be able to knock that down consistently.
Yeah.
But his defense, he has shown he can guard anybody at any position, which is big time. We always knew he could pass, create plays, as good a post-up guy as there is, really.
Yeah.
I mean, when he wants to post you up, he can post you up. I'd like to see more of that. Overall, I'd say I'm happy because that title of being a franchise guy, that's not an easy title.
No.
And he wasn't ready for that title, right? So he's getting to that point, but he needs help to get there. And when you're in a season like the Raptors, it's really hard to be that guy with all this stuff going around you.
Sure, Leo talked about a lot of the quantitative stuff, right? His shooting is better, he's passing the ball better. But there's a kind of a qualitative, non-numbers side to leadership. And where do you see Scottie in that regard?
He's growing. I mean, it's when I look at leadership, along with the things that Leo talked about, I look at consistency.
Yeah.
You've got to be that person all the time on the court and all the time off the court.
Yeah.
And I think that's the balance that I think Scottie's trying to strike. And I've said this before, from the eye test, he passes.
Yeah.
His energy, his being vocal, he's playing hard. Whether he's scoring or not, he's playing hard. Those are the things to me that are the tenets of leadership. So I just think that he's doing a good job as a young player figuring out how to be a consistent leader. He's not there yet.
Yeah.
Sometimes his body language is not the best, but that's understandable. It's a losing season. He's trying to figure it out, and emotions are involved. And he'll learn how to kind of handle the body language differently, but I think from the qualitative perspective, he's passing the test. He's doing
agree.
a very good
Yeah,
job.
Remember what Tracy McGrady said when he left Toronto? He wanted to be the guy. And Tracy had, I'd say, more offense, right? But he goes, once he got to Orlando, he's going,
This
it's
is not
easy
easy.
being the guy, man.
this
It's
is
like
not
every
easy.
night.
Yeah.
And Scottie's learning how to navigate that.
Yeah. I bet if Tracy had to do it again and knowing that he would stay with Vince and he didn't have to be the guy all the time.
A lot of those guys would do things different.
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's talk about another guy. I think he's kind of a born leader himself. RJ Barrett has had his first full season in Toronto. Remember, people forget, he came here kind of at Christmas time last year, the OG trade, and with Quickly, and he's thrust into things. The good thing for him was he was coming home, quote unquote. But it's
and
tough
some
when you're
turmoil in his
traded.
personal life.
And then he had last year was a tough half of the year for him here. But
Really tough.
I like what I've seen, Sherm, from him this year.
Yeah.
Like he's showing us the things that we knew he had that maybe other people didn't, because in New York, I always said he had to wait till Randall and Brunson were finished with the ball. But he's showing his playmaking, his leadership, his scoring. I think his defense is improving. Sherm, give me a kind of an evaluation of RJ in this year.
I've been impressed with RJ, and that's from knowing what we know about him prior to this. I've been impressed with him. I mean, we talk about the off-court struggles that he had to to navigate with his family. Just difficult, tough times. But RJ to me is what a leader is. You know, that mental toughness, that ability to lock in and approach every game with the seriousness. You know, he has the demeanor of professionalism every time he hits the floor. And his game, to me, is something that we know is going to expand. He works at his game. He's diligent about what he does. He's a professional, a true professional. Mm-hmm. He wants to get better.
Yeah.
He understands that he can get better, so he puts the work in. So the fact that we're seeing RJ shoot the ball better, no surprise to me. Mm-hmm. Decision making off the screen and roll, his passes are very good. You know, and defensively, the challenges are, with his body, his physicality, you're going to have to accept some challenges.
And I think he's improving at that. I'm watching him work hard.
100%. He's doing that. And I just think we talk about leadership with Scottie. RJ is a leader.
Yeah, mm-hmm. He's a natural leader.
He is a leader from the start. And I think that's what Darko has really tapped into. Yeah. Understanding that, yes, Scottie's the guy, but RJ's a real leader, and even Scottie will pay attention. I say this, great leaders know when to follow.
Yeah.
And Scottie understands that RJ is a leader.
Yeah. Leo, you look at him, and he's only 24 years old.
People forget that.
He's one of those young vets, right? He's been in the league 4 or 5 years, has been in the playoffs already with the Knicks. He's
had big moments in the playoffs.
He's one of those young vets that everybody's trying to get. And Toronto's got one right now.
And people forget that, you know, coming to Toronto or home is pressure.
Yeah.
But look where he came from. Montverde, Duke, Knicks. That's the biggest eyeball you can get right there. Being a centerpiece for the Canadian national team, even from as a junior when they won. So that doesn't bother him, which that's part of the leadership, that he knows how to handle the moment. You know, I've talked to his dad, Rowan a bunch, and he knows that the defense is the next step.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing him do that.
Yeah.
Right? And I think people are quick to judge, saying, well, you're not guarding anybody. Oh, come on. You start like this. What do I do best? And as you keep going, it widens out, right? The blinders.
We know this, too. And this league, sometimes they put, as Jose Calderon said, they tag you, you never leave.
Yeah.
Like it happens.
Yeah.
And people have to start looking at him differently.
Yeah, well, hey, first thing is your comfort. He can score.
Yeah.
And you don't have to encourage him to score. He goes, gets it, which I love. So the next thing is, okay, what can I do to be great? And that's what you're trying to do. And he's shown me at times when he goes to lockdown, does a pretty good job. And I went up to him the other day. I'm looking at him, dude, are you still growing? Like I remember being above him, and now he's looking down at me. I'm going, this guy's, because he's a young guy.
Yeah.
I think since he came out of college, he's grown.
Yeah.
And his body's bigger, he's stronger. So, hey, potential for him is still great.
Future's bright for Toronto. And now let's take a look at, we've had some guys. Scottie's a Florida State guy, a Duke guy, and RJ. We're going to go to a Texas guy, TJ Ford. Played for Texas, now still lives in Texas, former Raptor. And this is called a short, but he's talking about his not so short shorts.
Now I wore big shorts, but not that big, man. The story to that is when we was at rookie transitional program, the teams had to send everybody a uniform so we could do our rookie photo shoots. And when they pulled out this uniform, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, who is that for? It's not my size. It was like, well, this is what the team had sent. So the guy was like, this is what they sent. If you don't want to do it, then you don't have to, but then you wouldn't be on any of the cards, any of that nature. So for me, my whole dream was seeing my rookie card and being on a video game, right? That was the ultimate thing. So I wasn't passing up that opportunity. And turns out it became a legendary photo that everybody talks about. And it gets new life every year. So I'm kind of glad that I went ahead and went through with it. And I still have them somewhere in the closet in my mom's house. I had this kind of time too. It wasn't like, you should have saw me trying to dribble between my legs and do dribbling drills with those shorts. It wasn't easy, but I made it work.
Guys, let's continue to break down the roster. It's a growth year for Toronto. And I get the feeling that last year at this time, people were saying, well, it's a bad draft. And I always think that it's kind of broken telephone for some of you youngsters that don't know what that is. Somebody says something, and by the time it gets passed down, it gets changed to something that's totally different. I got the impression that some executive said, well, it's not really a deep, deep draft. And by the time it got to the end of the telephone line, it's a terrible draft. I think Philadelphia got a good player. Memphis got a good player. And I look at what happened in Toronto here. There's like 4 or 5 kids that the Raptors grabbed as rookies that have potential. And the first guy that comes to mind is Jamal Shead. You get him as a second rounder. If he had not been hurt, I'm sure the Cougars would have gone further in the tournament. And Leo, I just like what he's done, kind of learning from Davion Mitchell. Davion's moved on, and it's like, okay, kid, it's your time now.
He's a tough little dude, man. He's, hey, first of all, you play for Calvin Sampson. You know
Yes.
that you're going to be coached. You're going to be expected to perform. You're going to be expected to play the game the right way. And he's tough. He doesn't care who he's guarding. He just makes your life miserable. And I love that about him. I think offensively, he's showing people maybe more than they expected. He's not afraid to shoot the ball. I think he can get better shooting the ball. He attacks the rim. He's strong when he goes to the basket. He knows how to use his body. But there's a lot to like about him. And I think the Raptors showed some confidence in keeping him.
Yeah.
Trade deadline, they kept him. And I think it's, he obviously at his size, I think he's going to be, his future in the NBA is more situational than necessarily be, as a starter or something like that. But he's shown that he can take bigger minutes, do a good job. And again, we mentioned Scottie in this environment. It's not the easiest environment right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not easy for a rookie to be in this environment either. And I think he's
Especially when you're used to winning, right?
Yeah. And he's done a real good job of handling it.
Sherm, you and I have always talked about this. Give me that 4-year kid. Give me that mature kid who's had 4 years in college. As Leo said, played for Kelvin Sampson. He's been coached. He knows the game. Now he's learning the NBA game. But he comes in as a rookie, but yet I would say a mature rookie after 4 years of college basketball.
He comes in as a young man.
Yeah.
This on and off the court. He's understood a bit more about life in general, which helps you understand the game of basketball. Yeah. His numbers have improved every month. I think 1 month his assists stayed flat, but every month incrementally his numbers have gone up, points and assists. So he's showing you that the growth is right in front of your eyes. And this is what I've always said. This is an organization that appreciates the small guard.
Yes.
If you look at the last few, they've had a lot of success.
Damon, TJ Ford,
more recently,
Fred, Kyle.
So he understands that, and the organization understands how to utilize the smaller guard. And then having said that, this young guy, it's one thing to be small, but it's another thing to understand where your advantages are when you're smaller. And he understands 94 feet away from the basket, it's my advantage.
Yeah.
I can get into you. I can make you turn around. I can disrupt your offense. And he does that at a high clip. The other side of it is the belief is attacking the basket where the bigger bodies are is not where the smaller guys should be. What does he do? He physically overpowers people. He gets in there, throws his body in people, finds a way to finish. Now he's got the little push shot. He's understanding how to utilize that. He's showing that he has the ability to adjust, to adapt, to learn. And the curve that he's learning on is very steep and it's quick.
Yeah.
And as a point guard in the NBA, we know this. You're going against killers every night. You've got to know how to manipulate defenses and run offense, and he's growing right in front of our eyes.
And the game's changed, right? It's not like the old days you go, get a little guy, let's go get him.
Right?
No.
Who does that anymore?
Nobody does.
And plus, he's a tough dude. Good luck. He's going to fight you. He's going to push you, but you don't get attacked at the other end the way you used to. So a guy like that's got a chance to thrive a lot more than in the past.
He's one of those guys too, as we've talked about with the small guards. They take it personally.
Yeah.
Like he's got some professional pride. Like, oh, you're going to try to attack me? You're going to try to post me up? Mm-hmm. So I just love what I've seen from Jamal Shead. I think he might have been one of the steals of the draft when we project this down the line. Let's look at another rookie, Jonathan Mogbo, and I still see all kinds of potential with this kid, Sherm. He's long, he's athletic. I think he can guard. I would love to see him become, and he will over time, more confident in his offensive ability because I think it's there. It's kind of depressed and hidden right now, but I would love to see that, and I think it will come out over time. But he's another one. I love that pick in the second round by the
Yeah, you look
Raptors.
at his baseline: energy, toughness, athleticism, defender. He does all those things
He's
out
selfless.
the gate. Out the gate. And what we all know is guys are going to work on their handle, going to work on shooting the basketball. They're going to work on their offense. But he comes built in with some great defensive things and energy things that you can actually layer up with his offense. And once he gets more confident, as you said, offensively, his shot is a bit more consistent. You know, I just think this guy has all kinds of potential, and he's tough as nails.
Well, and that's what you want. You want that toughness, right? You want that guy that says, I can guard anybody. He can go after loose balls, go after rebounds. And now you can say, because he's shown enough, you can say, okay, let's work on that jumper. Let's really get that jumper down. Let's put the ball on the floor. Left, right, pull up, floater, whatever. Let's work on all that too. He adds all that to his game. You got to steal.
Two-way play.
I
You
think
got to
so.
steal because the two-way is that second part is hard to get a guy that can lock people down and do all that.
Or wants to do it.
Yeah, and
Or willing
wants
to do it. Yeah.
And he does that.
Yeah.
And I think he's the kind of guy who said, okay, we need you to work on this and work on that and take care of this. He's going to get in the gym and do it. And they got the people to work with him.
He's the kind of guy that in 4 or 5 years, people go, where'd they get him from?
Yeah.
Right? Just because
Pascal.
of. Yeah.
Look at Pascal.
Same thing. Fred, where'd they get him from? Nobody wanted this guy.
Hey,
Where'd they get him from?
We've been in a lot of gyms. When you go to a gym and roll out a ball, no one's doing defensive slides. no one's doing closeouts. They're dribbling, they're shooting, they're doing all the things offensively. He's already got that defensive base, so it's great.
All right, let's take a look back at the 2000s and some of the leaders in Raptors history with another short.
All right, now the 2000s. Points in the 2000s.
Vince.
No. Second place. Because he split his career from the 90s and the 2000s, he doesn't make the 2000s all
Wow.
2000s Raptors.
Chris Bosh? I feel like this is so obvious.
It is so obvious.
Chris Bosh.
Yep.
Chris Bosh.
Rebounds.
Chris Bosh.
It's also Chris Bosh. Assists.
2000s?
Yep.
Andrea Bargnani.
No, Andrea came in 2006.
Jalen Rose?
No, man.
Part of me wants to say Jose.
It's Jose. Most assists in the 2000s. Jose Calderon.
I told you, I got this.
And then blocks in the 2000s.
Blocks in the 2000s?
Yeah. This is the easy answer.
CB. Chris Bosh.
Steals. This one's pretty tough.
Mo Pete.
Mo Pete.
Mo Pete. Who is it?
Mo Pete.
Mo Pete.
I'm TJ Ford, and you're watching the Raptors YouTube channel. Check out our latest videos and subscribe to our YouTube page.
Works right into the lane, puts it up and in!
TJ flying to the lane, fades, fires, Onions, baby, Onions, timeout, Minnesota.